for clarity, I get 30 seconds a minute.
Yes, 30 seconds to put the question.
Yeah.
The Minister will have 2 minutes to respond. You will have a minute, the Minister a minute, you will have a minute.
Grant, okay, yeah. Sorry about that. First of all, Minister, I think we need a bit of clarity here. There's a jarring discrepancy between the media coverage of the energy review yesterday and the analysis from some NGOs and columnists today. And perhaps you can clarify if there will be an LNG terminal either privately built or state-owned, and can you answer the substantial question is how will such a facility be compatible with the climate objectives of the state?
We put climate at the centre of that question and asked SEPA, the consultants, to look forward at our security situation in both the electricity grids and in gas supplies, and had to look at options to give us that we do. In my mind, it does benefit us from having a storage capability in gas to look at this one specific aspect of it. But we did want to rule out options which wouldn't help us meet our climate targets. And that's why certain options were proposed now to go to public consultation, which we're doing. And following that, will be implemented and put in as part of the energy security strategy that we are following. And I believe that does lead you towards not having a commercial LNG facility. It does still open the possibility of a storage facility, be that floating or be it onshore, but it's a strategic storage operated to give us security in times when the gas might not be available. That's a very unlikely scenario, but we have to cover for every eventuality. But also, we want a facility that would not see a major increase, and similar to the earlier discussion we've had in the previous question, one of the concerns I have actually about some of the alternative approaches is that it would see a significant increase in emissions. So yes, climate change is at the centre, as well as energy security policy needs in terms of the options that were considered within that consultant's report. We now bring it out for open public consultation to hear every view, including your own parties, and then we will act on it by implementing the measures that we see best fit the Irish needs. I think that also has to be something which is fit for an energy future where we're likely to convert our renewable offshore wind power into stored hydrogen, which can be stored and transmitted. And any new storage facility, in my mind, has to be designed and built in a way that meets that need. It also goes back to the debate here we've had for many years. We do not want to be seen as a country. We don't want to be part of a world where we're leading to continued expansion of frack gas in a way that is both bad for the countries where it's first initially produced, but also which risks the future health and security of everyone on this planet. So I believe that the report was well received yesterday, and I look forward to hear the public consultation on it.
So when Friends of the Earth say that the expert review signals the death knell of Shannon LNG, are you confirming or denying that? Because there is a jarring discrepancy, and apart from that, there's a discrepancy within this government. So Deputy Patrick Donovan recently said, the time for discussion is over, we need to build an LNG as soon as possible. Either he hasn't read the review or you and I are misinterpreting it, because like other deputies, he wants an end to what he calls the philosophical discussion of what he probably means is silly things like climate crisis. In reality, we don't have clarity on this. And there has been and continues to be a significant campaign across this House by deputies of independent nature, of Fine Gael, etc., and even ministers to push for the new Fortress Energy LNG and to get it over the line, and to forget about climate chaos or the climate treaty, the Paris Treaty. And it's part of a wider campaign launched by the fossil fuel industry to lock the planet into a fossil fuelled future. So can you try again, please, to clarify?
Clarify. The report was very clear that such a commercial LNG facility was not considered as an option to go to public consultation to be progressed with. Friends of the Earth are correct in that reading, a very simple reading in my mind of the report, and a range of reasons, strategic reasons behind that. In terms of firstly that it wouldn't, as I said, well, firstly, as in my perspective, firstly that there's real risk in that following such approach would be very good for the developer, but it would not be good for our carbon budget. And on that criteria alone, should not be pursued. Similarly, what we were looking for in this report was to make sure we had a system that gave us energy security. A commercial facility wouldn't necessarily give us that. We'd have to contract it separately. And therefore, on that grounds, and thirdly, as I said, we've shared this perspective that you couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't necessarily or come from a non-frack gas source. So for a variety of different strategic reasons, climate, energy security and environment, it wasn't included as one of the options to be pursued.
So, New Fortress Energy set up the company Shannon LNG, paid Kerry County Council over $4 million as a development contribution for widening the road to Tarbert, and $2 million of that was paid even before the planning permission was lodged. Question being, do Kerry County Council owe that back to New Fortress Energy, or is it just gifted to Kerry County Council and those whom they contract? Because I'd like to share the optimistic interpretation that Shannon LNG is dead, but you can't be sure that that's the case, and that this report and the government's interpretation of the public consultation process will not leave the door open. And we're still awaiting the decision of An Bord Pleanála. And I want to just, on the energy issue and how much we need, you are allowing, and this government is allowing, more and more data centres to connect to the national grid. And we heard from Crew this morning that Ireland is an outlier in terms of the increase in its energy demand across the EU 27. They showed that to us in a letter. And our energy demand has jumped 9% in 5 years, whereas the EU 27 countries, they've flattened out or they've decreased. So there is a problem with the way we approach the usage of energy and the alternative of bringing in gas into the country, locking us into a fossil fuel future.
I think it's important in reading that CEPA report, which is, I think, a very comprehensive report, is that it recognises that there's a range of different options we need for energy security, not just gas storage, but also a whole variety of other, like pump storage, battery storage. It recognises that further interconnection, particularly on our electricity markets, will give us a greater stability and security. But also, as you say, it recognises that we also have to be clever in how we manage demand. And included in that is managing the demand for data centres. We will need new data centres in this country. It makes sense for us as a country to be good as a place where you can safely store and manage data. That is one of the main industries that provides a lot of the jobs and a lot of the income and a lot of the wealth for our country. We do need that. But we do it in a way that supports the electricity grid, that gives us energy security, that doesn't see a rise in climate emissions. And that's what the government have set out, Crew last September, and the government subsequently, with their grid support, as to how you design a system that is more energy secure and low carbon, not just demand-led, where you don't take those factors into account. And that's what we'll do when it comes to management of data centres.
It's unsustainable, Minister.
Question 56, which is